Hi everyone, thank you for joining me to this special AppScan Tuesday session. As you can see, there is nothing here in the title. I'm celebrating today a great milestone, I think. We've reached 20,000 views in the channel, 20,000 views across 63 different videos with 35 different guests that were on the show coming to talk about AppScan. I grouped them in 8 different playlists, and you can check the channel and see the playlist to learn more. For example, there is a playlist about DevOps that talks about the 3 GitHub videos, 3 Jenkins video. We had a video about Bamboo, video about IDE. So definitely about Azure DevOps. So I invite you to join the channel audience and maybe join these subscribers. We have now close to 300 subscribers, and maybe by the time this video goes out, we have 300 or more. But outside of that, naturally, I didn't invite you to talk just about this. We are going to talk about a few different topics. I'm actually going to show some videos that we had before about CodeSweep, about Jenkins, Azure DevOps, and a little bit about AppScan. So let's jump to it. The first video is actually from episode number 8. If you are back then from last year, I think around April, I had a session with Matt talking about CodeSweep, and you can see the timer that we had back then. I edited the video to make it short, and let's start with that.
Getting CodeSweep is free, so anyone can get it, install it. You just go to the Visual Studio Code marketplace in the extensions, and just do a search for AppScan, and you'll find the extension right there. So here I just have a very simple Python source file with a couple of functions in here. So I've just made my edits to this file, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. And as a developer, nothing happened, right? I don't see anything, no pop-ups, no flashy notifications, nothing like that. But behind the scenes, CodeSweep has kicked in and actually done an analysis on just this one file that I saved. And we can see down here in the status bar that AppScan found 2 security issues in this file. So if I click on that notification, I get two views. I get my security issues and my security rules. So we can see here that CodeSweep organizes the issues that it finds based on the vulnerability type, and it has an icon to show the severity of the issue. So red being high, orange medium, yellow low. So we can see here I have two issues found here. One is a SQL injection and one's an OS injection. And beneath that I can see where that problem is. So the SQL injection on line 8. And if I just close out my editor here, you can imagine if I'm coding and I come in to see the security issues, I see that I have a SQL injection on line 8. I click on it, that editor automatically gets opened up, becomes the active editor, and I just get taken to that line of code. Nothing else, no icons, nothing else to disrupt you. Just takes you right there so you can see what the issue is. So here we have CodeSweep told us that we have a SQL injection issue, and it took us to the line of code, and that's great. But now what? Maybe as a developer I don't know what SQL injection is, or maybe I have a basic understanding of what it is, but how does that really apply to the code I'm writing here? So what I can do is if I go next to the rule, there's an info button. If I click on that info button, it brings up in a split editor some specific information about what CodeSweep found. So this isn't just a generic description of what SQL injection is. It's going to be specific to in this case Python. So it's going to tell me exactly what SQL injection in Python looks like, and then it's going to have a mitigation area to tell me these are the steps that should be taken to solve this kind of a problem.
If you want to see the full video, you can click at the top there for each video. Now we'll go to episode number 49, where Cody taught us how we can do DAST automation with Jenkins. Let's jump to that one.
And my portion of the DAST automation gets started with the functional test cases. So I have just a batch command that runs as part of my build. And what it does, it kicks off a series of test cases. I do have to do some housekeeping first. I do have to check to make sure the AppScan proxy is running. This proxy server is included as part of AppScan Enterprise. We have a proxy server included for AppScan on cloud. So it doesn't matter if you have AppScan on Cloud or AppScan Enterprise, we can run these automation test cases and capture them. And I'm going to be stepping through a couple of basic use cases of Altoro Mutual. So if you're familiar, Altoro Mutual is our demo banking site. I'm just going to log in, make some transactions, run a search, and then log out. So very basic test cases. Those test cases could be run at Selenium. It could be whatever functional test case platform you choose to use. As long as you can set the browser proxy to be the AppScan proxy server, that we could capture it. So that piece is going to run. I'm going to capture my traffic, save it to a specific file, and then later use that file as the Explorer data in my scan. So as part of my AppScan Enterprise automation setup, I have my plugin installed to Jenkins, which is necessary. I have my API credentials here. I have my template, my scan template set up. I gave my scan a name. I like to use some sort of name, like if I'm running a scan from Jenkins, I like to put the word Jenkins in the scan name just so I can take a look at it later and see where the scan originated from. I have an automation folder dedicated to just the automation in my AppScan Enterprise environment. I have the application selected. I have my test policy selected. I have my starting URL selected. I did record a login. This could be recorded with AppScan Standard, the AppScan Dynamic Analysis Client. It could be recorded with our plugin, the browser plugin, AppScan Activity Recorder. So this could be, recorded any of those places. But the biggest piece where it comes into play is I have this test only option selected. And this test only option tells AppScan not to do the full automatic Explorer because that would take too long. Only use this Explorer data that we're going to record as the basis of the scan, right? I have some test optimization set. I have this set to the fastest option to quickly get through the scan. And I have some AppScan issue gateway actions happening at the end. I can talk about that in a little bit later. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off a build. And the build that's been kicked off, I'll take a look at the output.
In episode 23, Florian came to the show again, and this time he talked about how to integrate static analysis scans into your Azure DevOps pipeline. In the original video, he also showed how you can take push results back to the Azure DevOps, to the defect tracking system, and also how you can load the results in Eclipse. I took parts of it into this video. Again, if you want to see the full video, click on the link above.
The first thing we'll do, we are going to look for AppScan. The plugins are available in the marketplace, so you can just grab them from here. I have my credentials pre-configured with the API key and secret. I will then select an application to store my results against. And also, this controls which policies will be applicable. So in my case, I will use the new customer API. I will give this a scan name to easily identify it. I'll just call this Azure DevOps. DevOps, that's a hard one to spell. And then new customer API. I'll select the scan type. You can do static analysis and dynamic if you want to do from here. I'll be working with static. And I will want to scan everything in my subdirectory. I do have a configuration available for AppScan in there, so it will know what to scan for me. Some options you can look at. You can decide which speed to go at. I will select a very simple scan for my use case. And I will want to define some advanced settings here. I will want to suspend the job until the security analysis completes. This allows me to wait for the results to come back and they make a decision on whether or not I should fail a build. And finally, I will want to set the fail build configuration. I have an option to define a threshold. If you're just starting, this could be a good way of looking at things. But if you know what your security policies, what your security requirements are, you can select the non-compliance with application policies. So at this point, I am ready to go. I can save and queue my scan. And I'm going to call this one added security step. Now let's call the security gate. Let's be very DevSecOps here. And this will kick off my new scan. Now, typically to a cooking show, this is the part where I take the turkey, I put it in the oven, and I will show you a turkey I have cooked earlier to save some time. And in this case, we see that we did run a scan. We see some information about why my build failed coming from AppScan, and this is because it found 3 non-compliant issues. If you want, you can go and see what happened during the scan. You can investigate the scan logs and understand everything that went into your scan, as well as understanding what was introduced in terms of issues. That can be done by having a quick look at the HCL AppScan report, where you can see exactly which issues were introduced and which information you should be aware of when trying to remediate this. From here, you can just pull the application issues. And again, this will present you with the new non-compliant issues to help you understand, hey, what's my status? What do I need to fix? I'm working on this new customer API, so I want to see these issues.
Now, normally developers will probably see one application or 2 tops, not what you show here, right?
I agree. For me, as I'm managing the entire enterprise, I'll be able to do this. But we know that customers split things into their own asset groups. So you'll only see the asset group you're working with, which could be, like you said, 1 application, 2 applications, and that's about it. Now, as I was saying, the same 3 issues, the non-compliant issues, are available for me to view in here. Everything is grouped by fix group, giving you the best remediation advice, best fix location. So as you're working with this, you can add your fixes, you can add this. And as soon as you change something, you fixed it, you change the status in here, this status is reflected in ASOC without you having to do anything. So the next time you run a scan, if you find the same issue, if it's fixed, it will no longer show up in your scan outputs. It will no longer show in your reports. It will not impact your security gates, and you can go on with your job.
And for the final video, this was an amusing video that I did with myself, with my evil alter ego. This was episode number 13, where I came to the show and showed how you can take AppScan Standard and do some advanced multi-step sequences there, how you can use it to the extreme and actually use AppScan to be able to test any business logic in your application. Let's go to that one.
So I will just dive into it. So when you want to record a multi-step, you have 2 options. Either use the Chromium browser, which says recommended, but in my case, I need to use the AppScan IE browser. Basically, I want to log in and then record. I don't want to waste time in recording the login again. So because I followed Cody's explanations and I used the login the way that he configured, I was able to successfully log in, as you can see. Now I'm going to test the full flow of running a dynamic scan in ASOC on a new application. So I am going to define an application and I'll call it Demo YouTube. And my application is critical, so I'm defining it that way and press save. So now at this point I'm going to create a scan. I'm choosing dynamic scan, and here's the first tip that I'm giving you. Instead of pressing enter, it's always better to use next. Use the clicks of a button. Why? Just because it works better that way. It doesn't mean that with enter it doesn't work, but clicking is always better. And I'm finishing with save and scan later because I don't really want to start a scan. This is not what I'm trying to test here. So I'll do save and scan later, and I'll do OK. These are all the steps that we found. So I can see all the requests that were sent, a lot of those as you can see, and I can see also all the actions that were sent. Now, for those who have sharp on observation, you can see here the set demo YouTube in name. I'll do the first step. I'll validate that what I did works. So I'm pressing on the validate and it's going to replay, and because I chose action based, I'm going to actually see what was recorded. So first step should be the login. Let's wait for it. Here we go. log in, fills my details. Don't try to email me to this email because I'm not going to answer. It's a bogus email I created for now, a temp one. And now entering the name of the application, and as you can see, this doesn't allow me to use the same application because an application with that name already exists. So I'll close this. Didn't work, right? I'm going to try something else. So create an application. I can find the name here. I can do two things. I can change the name, but then it will only succeed once, and that doesn't help me in the testing phase. So what I am going to do is right click here, set dynamic value, and I have all these different options to choose from: integer, decrement integer, increment integer, date and time, random email address. In this case, I need a random string. Now, one more thing that Cody showed last time, which is also great. You see all those waits, wait 0 second, wait 0 second. It allows us to define how long should the replay wait for the page to load. Now, it's very easy to change it. I'm going to change this one for 1 second. Why? Because I know I need to, otherwise this one won't work. And let me show you how it works now. So I'm validating it. Logging again. And now you see the random string that was used in the login. Everything works. Wait, let's wait for it. Maybe I'm failing up. No, great success. So this worked, right?
So I hope you enjoyed today's session. I know it's different. Next week, hopefully we'll go back to the normal with new guests or old guests and talk about some topics. I had recently a few people putting some comments in the videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It helps and give ideas to prepare future videos. Keep up the good work and please subscribe down there. Thank you. Bye-bye.